again. But let's go. Let's sit down and fix it up.
When working with one string of horses, maybe you have 6 horses, you're playing like anywhere from 4 chukker to 6 chukker polo, and it's yourself, your groom, your 6 horses. If you play by the season, for example, June, May through October, which is a typical season, I think, for a lot of the country, the upper half anyway. The horses are getting fit usually in May, maybe they start playing in June or late April. So as the summer comes along, I like them to start earlier because I like the horses worked earlier in the mornings of the heat. So they may start at 6 a.m., work a few hours, probably take a break. I feed my horses at lunchtime, so they always have a hay throughout the day in small amounts to mimic grazing. And then maybe afternoon games. So, by the time you get there, let's say at least more than 45 minutes before we want to leave, because we're grooming the horses and so on, getting organized. The game runs a couple of hours. A day could be a regular 9-hour day split into segments. And most horse people have Mondays off. Here in the Wellington, in the Florida season, you'll find you might be playing on Mondays because it's very intense and there's a lot of games to be played and a lot of schedules to work with. But most of the year, I think most people are active Tuesday through Sunday, and Monday's usually the holiday, the horseman's day off. Very typical. If I'm playing the winter season and the summer season, I usually give my grooms a break. Right now, when we're going home in mid-April, late April, a couple of weeks then, maybe a month or so in November, around that time, before we get geared up to go again.
What do you do during that time? Turnout?
My horses go home after the Florida season and turnout. I have a few at home that are coming in and a bunch of green horses that will come in. And same thing, after October, I might be turning out my horses that have played all summer, maybe mid-October or even all of October. Unless I'm playing, for example, Aiken in the fall, it'll be November. They'll have at least 6 weeks out. But if I turn them out earlier, I may be playing or working with some green horses again in the fall. So it's usually a 4 to 6 week turnout time, be it spring or fall. And there are some horses that might turn out all winter. Mm-hmm. If they're too young to come here, maybe they're playing great at home, 5, 6 years old, it's very intense in Florida. I would prefer to leave them home and not, cook their brains. Even though they were fantastic in the summer, you're like, oh, I'm dying to play this horse. They're better off to digest everything, and it's, you got to read each horse, but it's very tempting to bring a good horse here, but if they're young, for me, I've learned, it didn't take but one horse to learn that you leave them home. My string in the summer is 12 horses that I have in the barn, and I do play 4, 6, 8, and 12 in the summer. But in Forgal, I'm probably doubling, going, maybe captaining a team, and I just have 2 horses young ones that are playing, and that's 4 chukkers, and our 6th goal is also 4 chukkers. But the 8 and the 12 is a full 6 chukkers. So, but I can get by with 12 easily. Rotating them, it's important. This horse maybe double today, it's going to do 1 chukker tomorrow, or even have tomorrow off. So you can really rotate your horses if you're, watching how they're feeling. When horses, maybe they're playing great for a few weeks and behavior's changing, maybe they need a change. Could only be a day off. But my experience has been, the more my horses play, actually, the better they are. And especially when they get fit, too much idle time doesn't usually pay off. I think I'm being nice to them, but you know what? It usually doesn't work out. In Florida, I came here with 11 horses, and I did play a lot of polo this season. And 1 horse did get hurt, but the rest went home sound. I just turned him out this morning, but I played, like I said earlier, from 2 goal up to 26, and that was unusual. I got a lot of opportunities this year. I did have my own tournaments every month, but I did get into some 20 and 26 goal teams. And of those 11, I actually really played 6 or 7. Yeah. I mean, well, some of them, weren't playing as good as I hoped, and you have to have umpire horses here in Florida too. So you know, it's almost designating horses just to umpire. And so that's another budget issue you have to think about if you're, even summer polo. So a lot of clubs will provide the umpire horses, but sometimes you do have to bring your own. So that's another horse. You can either rotate your string or have ones that strictly are umpire horses. When playing tournament polo or league polo, there's definitely a attrition rate for injuries. You have to count on injuries, and they could be literally an abscess. It happens. A horse gets an abscess. They could have gotten kicked in the trailer. You know, nothing major, but they all need time. Just a little bit of time off. So if you have 6 chucker games, I would have to say probably not that you need to have. If you're playing true tournament polo, you probably want to have 8 horses. If you're playing league polo, club polo, you can probably get by with 6, and maybe one horse has to double while this one horse is recuperating from an abscess or some minor injury. And throughout the summer, you probably might want to count on always being down a horse. Let's say you have 6 to 8 horses, it's probably 10% if you or even 10 horses. I always count on being down 1 to 2 at any given time. Doesn't mean they're retired for life or for the rest of the season, but at any given time, I would say, yeah, at least 1 or 2 out of a string of 8.